Afternoon, everyone. I, Adil Khan, RS Scholar at the Department of English AMU, welcome you all to day 5 of the Gyan course on culturally empowering teacher training through language and literature. We have with us Professor Yilwal and Professor M. Rizwan Khan in today's panel. Uh, we have an engaging schedule lined up for today, comprising two lectures, one by Professor Ilwa and one by Professor Rizwan Khan. Before we begin, here are a few announcements. Number one, participants are kindly requested to keep their questions or comments ready for an engaging discussion at the end of the lecture. Number two, at the end of today's session, there will be a mandatory test based on the lectures delivered. The test link will be shared on the WhatsApp group. You may attempt it anytime before midnight. The test will be graded and the results will be reflected in your course certificate. Let us now begin the academic proceedings. I'm delighted to invite Professor Ilwalimbak for our lecture titled Innovation in Educational Everyday Life Through Future of Literacy. Welcome, madam.
Well, I have adapted to the Indian educational style, and that is that we change everything the day before. So we have a schedule, and then everything is turned upside down. And so I have, taken my freedom and the liberty also to change then. So I'm not at all going to do what Adil said right now. I'm going to have a workshop with you again. And it's based on what we were discussing yesterday. And it has been so interesting. Before you came here after tea, I've been discussing a little with the people in the room, and we were discussing the fact that, okay, but what do we do in India with teacher competence development? And how can that be organized? And we spoke about the fact that teachers often are alone in their classrooms. And yes, okay, take a minute and think about teacher development in India, and I will just do some technical issues here. Yeah, maybe. Maybe I can have it there. So it's okay to have it there. Yeah. Okay. Do you hear me well? Yes. So now I'm a quick like a cyber. Now we're speaking about organizing teaching development. That is also something that is difficult to do. I don't know what actually happened here during the pandemic, because you needed to go very fast remotely, as all of us really needed to do in Sweden. So if you're interested, I have one article on this very specific moment in Sweden during 3 months, where they prepared and also went to remote teaching very fast. And this article I have entitling Teacher as Innovator, Teacher as Innovator, because we seldom think about the teacher profession as innovation, as a creative profession. We are taught to do the same. And we are also, when we come out in the classrooms, we sort of adapt and adopt the traditional ways of doing. So we forget that teaching and education needs to be continuously updated and developed so that we are in line with what is happening in society. Because what will happen otherwise? Well, the student, they do not understand why should they learn? Why should they care for education if they don't see the value of it and if it's not justified? So we were discussing this, and we sort of found a solution, and what we also have done in Sweden is that we have these early adopters. They are everywhere, but we need to identify them. Those who are interested in new ways of teaching, new pedagogies, and also to invent together with the new technology that we have around us. So we need to focus on these persons and then invite colleagues to work together. Maybe lunch seminars, hands-on workshops, and also we were discussing co-teaching, co-planning, so that teachers are not left alone in their classrooms. This is the way forward. At least this is my view. But let us dive into today's subject. So today we will work with futures literacy. So we will work with your imagination, your capacity to imagine the future. Sometimes when I present these kind of workshops, people say that, well, it's stupid, it's childish, it's only, it's not serious to engage with futures because we do not know anything about it. Yes, but I think that we are at a tipping point where we begin to understand that there are people out there in very powerful positions deciding about the future and shaping it in very thoughtful ways. And do we, as teachers and educators, do we want to be in that conversation? I think so, because it's about our working conditions and it is about the children and the students that we are responsible for. So do I have it? Yes. So I would just like, before we start, so we have a workshop, a workshop day, because this workshop is going, you're going to produce something during this day. And it's a postcard from the future. But this is not anything that you can do by just clicking something. You need to work for it. So here on workshop, at the end of the workshop, you will post your individual postcard here. But before that, we will work together in small groups. So I might need you to rearrange a little bit the room, but we will go step by step, okay? So everyone has the code and everything. I see there is one on the phone now, so I will wait. It's okay? Are you ready? I can switch. Yes. It's okay? Even over there? Yeah. Let's go. So before we dive into the futures, I just want to present you to different futures, different ways of approaching imaginaries of futures. Around us, we have a lot of promissory imaginaries of what technology can do for us in education. For example, the other day I asked ChatGPT, can you transcribe an audio file from a conversation that I have recorded? And the ChatGPT, what did it say? Of course I can. Just post it and I will do it. So I did so. And what did the ChatGPT say? Thank you so much, but you have to install another application, I don't know, Whisper, blah, blah, blah. Actually, it promised me something that wasn't not really that. And this is what we see, these discourses surround all the technologies that we have around us. And so it's a promissory imaginaries, but we also have inevitable imaginaries, often coming from political positions and reports. For example, in Sweden right now, we have the AI Commission. What does the AI Commission say? It says that in Sweden, we must push really hard for the AI technology. We must seize the opportunities. Otherwise, we will fail in the global race of the AI development right now. So there we are. It's an inevitable imaginary about the future. If we do not engage with AI, we will fall behind. Maybe it's not a catastrophe. Maybe it's not like that. But these imaginaries are very forceful since they come from above and we struggle to escape them. But even though we cannot escape them, we can perhaps alter them so that they work with what we see before us. When I have been working with the upper secondary school students in their collaborative writing about futures with AI, we have very much discussed dystopian imaginaries and utopian imaginaries. These imaginaries are frequent in science fiction, and mostly we see dystopian imaginaries. But what is so important when we think about futures, if we want them to be credible, you were speaking yesterday with Rizwan Khan about verisimilitude, for example, then we need to take into account that in our present, there are a very dark side, but we also have very bright sides. And it will always be like that. And even in the future, we will have solved certain problems for sure, but there will be new problems that we don't know about. So this is interesting. How can we actually illustrate and represent this complexity? And I would also like to present activist imaginaries. What is that? Well, it is in future studies. It is particularly an author called Inayatullah, and she has worked with futures in order to improve and make a difference for the future. So only what can be improved, the betterment of society in the future. So then, for example, she has been looking at the situation of women in the world, and how can that be different in the future, and always together with technologies. So that is activist, because you have an idea already in the present of how you want the future to be, so how you strive for that. And then finally, what I find most interesting is actually the exploratory imaginaries, where we do not set all these boundaries, where we try to open our minds and try to be creative, to let our imaginary flow. These are rare, those moments where we actually have the possibility to do that in education. And also just as an experiment to see what will come up. Because actually when we let our imagination free, we also unfold our assumptions, our ideologies, who we are. So we expose ourselves also. But let us be courageous today and do that. So I would like you to take maybe not 15 minutes, but just 10 minutes to start to discuss with your neighbor how you see everyday life, where you live. I mean, you come from different places in 2045. It's like 20 years from now. It's very close. It's near future. And at the same time, as we said the other day, in less than 10 years, we have seen extreme changes in the world. And here I have focused on reading and writing, since this is something that you can have a consensus around, you have an interest in this, but maybe you would like to focus more clearly on language issues, on literature as such, drawing from the discussions about the literary canon from yesterday or something like that. Do that. You're free. But I know that your disciplines and your interests are more or less the same. So which skills are important then in this future? So try to imagine a precise situation and make your vision explicit. So I give you 10 minutes now to speak with your neighbors, and then we will go further with the workshop. Okay? And I will walk around. What a nice very beautiful. How are you? I want all your things. But the agree and other person as well. So you just pay to him and yes, that yes, and the other things as well is a gift for you. Thank you to speak. So, how is the week? Have you made it? It's interesting. It's perhaps new to you. This way of thinking. Yes. But the way trying to imagine something in a precise way to see, I don't know, when will you graduate? What will you do afterwards? And, to see this before you, what will it be? Will you have, what is important? So, for example, yesterday I watched a documentary on Swedish young people, and they don't want to have a family anymore. We have the lowest rate of birth in Sweden since ever. So what is this a symptom of? It's about there is no security in society. It's also difficult to raise children in this complex society where we are. Yes, apparently this having a family is no longer an objective. So then you will meet this generation. What is the generation after you? What will happen?
Nobody if somebody reads the book, he would be like, what is what the 19?
Do you think that will happen?
I, like completely years, like somehow it may take place like before the COVID man has to mention. Like that we have never like imagined that class would be in online, in online from offline.
Yes.
We have never imagined like this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what would make it possible? That sometimes the chances are they have this case of 50 would make some kind of make the world is running behind it. Made a target like it. And after the World War II, it became something for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
will see grades like that and take his grades. System will be like that. Will work like that. They just will be comfortable. Able to each other will be, I think, has pros and cons. Pros is that it is less
Yes, you don't have to have me here, talk all that.
but the biggest demerit of this thing is that it will create unemployment.
It will create what?
Unemployment.
Unemployment.
Because teachers will not be needed, the coaches are already there. It will create frustration.
But you must think that this kind of, if it gets too instrumental, I mean, what you are discussing there is a dream that the big tech. Yes, yes, it's already there.
Coaches are getting credited to all marks. These are coming under them.
Yes.
And now they like for degree, they make our business company.
But there is also a counter movement in education. Yes, definitely.
We have AI now. Maybe we have something that is more generated that is more complex than AI. So I just feel like I'm creating unemployment.
Will not be paid as much as they should. These courses, there will be a people that will be ready to it. But we see conversation right now, people are unpaid.
People are unpaid. I completely. You are speaking about this automation that we are replaced and that's correct. There are studies on that we can see this kind of replacement, but there is also something else is happening with this. There are huge fundamental transformations in society, where we also think that new employments are happening and we need to be
Today, this developing countries like US and UK, these developing countries, they are putting us back. There is not a reason, a political reason, but the reason is that machines are taking place place of the person that we are working here. Robots are working here, machines are AI, these are working here, and they would say now spent so much time here, and now they are deported back.
But this is because, but if I cannot interrupt you, this is because of the nationalist movement in the whole world right now.
That is same.
Basically, what it has national thing, we have our people going to we have our doing people outside of nation.
why can we outside people simply because why it was there before that. The thing was why they were actually people get because they don't have this restricted technology that to work everywhere. Now the technology is so much advanced. They don't now need people who are working there quite short time.
Well,
It has
I
political.
yes,
It is
I think,
political.
yeah, I think that is not the main reason. It's actually that it is, yes, that you are not from here. In America, it's really because you are not originally American. And you should not be that. So it's an immigration. Yes. Yes, but we also have Harvard University. It's the most prestigious university in the US, the most, the richest one. And this university has taken a stand and said that we will stay with our principles. And that is diversity and people included, and we need to have these different cultures and different languages and so on. So I don't think it's because the US do not need these people. It's just a political thing, the far right, as you say. And this, but here you have something for the future. You can.
It's not proper in the US. It's really something they are supporting back. Something everywhere.
I know.
Because every that they have making politics, but you are Saudi Arabia, other countries, what is the issue? Those countries that are taking from these sort of countries now are doing them back because now they are much they don't so
But I don't think that it's technology in the first place that is yes. Yes. But these are so interesting questions, and I mean, here you go. You have a challenge. What do we do with this? Because this has also, as you say, has much to do with education. What do we need to know in education? How can we work across borders to teach this nationalist hybrid technologist situation in the future? What do you see before you? Yes, I think so.
in America, we go create jobs. I think
About like it's like a civil overall, and we let's be careful now, like it will be get all these right now we are see like see like we are doing it for this public, but when we say but it shift from like that part of 90% to close, but we are saying that it used to be but how far like you see like now it will because all the education will get settled. How far like now it will be the upbringing of the students, the quality of like now the mindset, the exposure.
But I think that you're onto something there. What is, I mean, the quality of education, the human being. What is it that you know that can be a counter movement to what you see now? So you have something really interesting. I'm looking forward for the next stage here. Okay, easily 50 minutes on this one. Thank you so much. So now we're moving into the next phase, and we will need to rearrange the room. So I don't know, maybe I think that 4 people in each group will be quite sufficient. But if anyone is left, I mean, we just, see to that we have enough rooms. But as far as I can see here, approximately like 8 groups, perhaps 7, I don't know. So please, where do I have it? In the next phase, we will have 3 teams. So I will show you 2 slides. So about, I think 4 persons will be enough because you have so much to say so that everyone can be heard. So what you do first in your group is that you need to invent a character. I mean, it can be someone, can be the pupil, the student, the teacher, a parent, I don't know, maybe a shopkeeper, watching all these other characters passing by, something, and that you can sort of ground your scenario in. And then theme 1, when you have your characters, you will create an environment and surroundings in this future. And I suggest that perhaps 10, 20 years in the near future is sufficient, because otherwise it can become, completely fantasist. So in this theme, you will think about what is in the character surroundings and what is education, what is happening in society. So these are just suggestions of questions, but you can elaborate from that. So what is reading and writing in this environment? How is it done? And what types of text and text formats? How do you learn? How do you get knowledge? So you think about that during 15 minutes approximately. And I will sort of, now perhaps you need to move to the next theme, and then we go to theme number 2. And here you will discuss attitudes, abilities, and habits. So we will sort of try to imagine the everyday life of the future regarding what we do, how we read and write, and also our attitudes. Do we like reading? Is it something that we try to find space and time for, or is it not there at all? Or how is it done? And also, what skills and abilities are important in this society? What a successful person in this future society, what that people need to know. And what do teachers do, or other actors? What do they do in this society to encourage students, to help students to become participant in future society? And perhaps you can also discuss successes and challenges that the characters that you have invented, that they have in this future society. So this is also 15 minutes, and then I have a last theme. So here you have like 45 minutes where you will discuss together the relationships and the networks in these future surroundings. So who collaborate with who? Which relationships are important? And what role do teachers play in the lives of students? What do parents, librarians perhaps, or other actors in the students' lives? What are their roles? So we start here. But before we start, we need to rearrange the room. So can you help me so that you are 4 people approximately in each group? So here we go. We can make a group here, perhaps quite easily. If we take just one share, you can make Maybe you can have a group here. We can take a group here. We can have a group here if you want to, like 4 people, I suppose. But you, it's not possible. Come here. You have a group here. It's so easy for you here. You will be much more comfortable, okay? Please come. Here.
You know.
Yeah, the first one is a character. To try to imagine the character that is at the center of Yes.
Question what will you what is how
No feelings like yes. Every single thing. I don't know. And they speak about this time. Maybe they would talk about, oh, how good has this come? I am real happy with that. I think and some trainers you need to write close to talking to say thank you. Thank you, this person, so that they we have these opportunities. And this problem has been solved. That is something we do mistaken. So in this group, you discuss together so that you figure all the Yes, yes, you need to like updates and very only to get that. Like, for example, the writer who is how has he learned to write? How many and now will they be correct? When students read it, and why is he reading? Why is he writing? I think it's very good that we have to stop it. Okay. You're on. Yeah, no problem. Just if I was late. Okay. You will be because I think you will be with some guys over there. No, you don't. It's okay to be with us. No, it's okay. Because what we are doing now is we're creating teacher so we get that doing this stuff like the character. What is different, what is similar to what they have now. Yeah, okay, maybe that could but I can't answer it. Maybe here. Maybe here there are few people. Here you have some new floors. Can we come back? Okay. Thank you all. Yes, I think we can do yes. Well, yes. Yes, but in once because we first start with the environment, the character first of all, and then we will work down to the environment and try to one character, or like everybody's like about their own character. You should speak about some characters you want to if that is yes, that would be nice. Like that, we have to create a situation that he is in it. To get that environment, you have to be, yeah, you have to be in the environment. How we are creating the environment, are making impact on the environment, like that. How you picture, how far the child, what kind of situation of everyday life how you react. Yes, and then you need to describe what is in their surrounding. How do they shop? How do they read? How do they educate? Relationship. You have one, the third is that relationship. So the network around these houses and so on. So the idea is that you take one thing at a time so that you can make it okay. So I need to know, you need to know what is the name and what is it going to look like. So you have a common consensus about that. Because afterwards you will write your own first part, say individual foundation. Thank you. You manage?
Yeah, next level of some can join class. So the main people can get
Some of these things have been contested in the remote teaching. I mean, in Sweden, it's like that. In some the teacher was there in the classroom, screening everything out to the students. So that they might not.
But I am imagining the case of India.
Yeah.
What's good? Yes. Thinking about the kind of technologies we have, and how it's going to put like, there is a population of technologies that have slowly, for example, Sweden. So everyone will have access to VR technology for that matter. Some may have, some may not have it. So you can join the physical environment. Some can join.
That is very good. This is important thing also. You point to injustices and the uneven distribution of technologies in the country and how
Injustice, I would call this the reality of Indian education.
yes, but you think the way
I would think it's the reality because we have a large population. So not everyone is obviously going to have the same kind of things. So that is okay. That is okay. That's how they how we interact in the class. I don't think there's not even a very drastic change. Certainly it is something new. But what I foresee is again we the hub of inside of it. Because we have power data. What we like because data in internet connectivity is 60% of it right now. We have the largest users now and we are building technology. I believe those control the internet.
yeah, I mean, this could be, you could maybe also, that could be the beginning of a youth political shift.
Yes.
And you have Indian Silicon Valley in Hyderabad, Bangalore. I mean, we often engage people in media for Volvo, for our cars, other companies.
There is an area called quantum digital right. Yes. We don't know what happens in the quantum computing essentially right. So because we can have possibilities that quantum mechanics, right? You can exist doing it. So class is a very fertile and discussing I cannot say anything about it.
We try much to we are now in this room we are allowed to imagine anything and content which you think about that. It's completely yes, it's brain blowing. But what we see is that China has most of the resources right now regarding quantum technology. After that is US. We have Germany, France is coming after that, but maybe India is going to be.
Yes, heavily invested in semiconductor industry, right? Because the government realized that we don't have any semiconductor manufacturing. And the only reason China is ahead of everyone is because they have semiconductor. So only the company that manufacture semiconductors because processor is in Taiwan was in Taiwan. So the whole idea about who controls the world, I think source of the data very hard to imagine how it turns out, but then I think there will also be.
Yeah. But you can stay with the trouble there. You can stay with this question and try to brainstorm what could the consequences, the positive and negative effect be of quantum technology is deployed in the Asian world, perhaps before the Western world. What happened? To discuss this, maybe you can tell me okay, so we really have sort of sort of character. So we made it more convenient for person to walk around. Like probably not even like yeah, just like get everywhere in a snap. Yeah. Also, talking about the question of how the environment surrounding we thought we might have screen instead of words. Yeah. So also, just to serve the nostalgia that we might have to go back to, environment and all that. So we might have something of the sort where we want to stay back in have images or let's say sounds or like that. Yeah. Just so that we like to sit somehow in the past and also try to move forward in time. And I've already tried to face flexible things, digitalized text. That's what I have a text class and I think you already have of the reading experience. There would be all the people on similar power probably programs according to our understanding or how our how use internet. Okay, it would so yes. What will teach in this environment? So they would just guide us how the design works, and they would just tell us how to do things. And then okay, I'm looking forward. Oh, you stopped it.
What is
Yes, I mean, in 2020, we got the pandemic. What happened? We take maybe electricity. Imagine if you do not have the clean water. Right. We can have a new pandemic, even unsafe, more dangerous. Some we cannot harness So what we have done is that people change their behaviors from one day to another. Yes. So in 20 years, maybe we have invented something that works better. I mean, in the Matrix movie, you know, the science fiction, you take the pen and then everything is done. You don't need to work for it. Maybe we could have something like that. Or because in the maybe you will think of the future more of collaborating across India, right? What will happen if they are working with parents and you are working with high technology as well, right? To open up a little bit to imagination to see what is possible, and also perhaps look at the whole world. When the students at the secondary schools, when they do their future scenarios, they are also having a thought also. It's quite interesting because they they collect the legal other planetary system. I mean, in 20 years, maybe, you know, yesterday they discovered life on a new planet. Or they think that at least they have these kinds of life on another planet. This is completely new. So perhaps in 20 years, we are able to do something well, to find new methods, new ways of doing, so that we can have a more a better world one day. I didn't want to come here. I really didn't want to come here. Why? Why didn't I want to come? It was not because I could always, you know, make space in the time. And I of course wanted to meet you. But the pollution to take a flight so over such a big distance, I mean, this is not sustainable. So transportation must become more sustainable. It's not sustainable today at all. And here, look at the traffic. It's so polluted. So when I went to Taj Mahal the first day, and we took TikTok and everything. So when I came home in the evening, I had such a headache, and I was completely swollen. I was not used to this. Yes, yes, you do.
Yeah, I have taken up the original writers. How do they see the earth and the how long before the environment discourse was like about intelligence. But before that, we have to explain gymnastic, like towards the future development. extra knowledge, translating.
That's wonderful. Because we know very little about these novels. I mean, I know that the novels that have been written in the Western world on what is it called now, Dead Spring, no, Silent Spring. Yes, I mean, it's classic. It was early on. And we the research environment in Sweden about eco-criticism and so on. Quite strong. And transportation, going back to transportation, I think really it can be improved, but it's also a question of resources because we know that electric cars need these rare metals that Trump is going to get in Greenland, in Canada, and so on, in Ukraine. It's going to get the genes. And will we be able to work across borders in new ways? How can we, in education, work with the schools to see, to make the young people see you can change. You don't need to be in this very unfair capitalist, individualist way of thinking. You can think of the planet first, because if the planet is not there, your children will not see their needs. In France, it's only, I think, 30% and 1% of the population. Yeah. Can I say something? I was so shocked I didn't say anything, but we were taking the call. And one person with me here just threw a plastic bag out of the window. And I said, okay, I cannot say anything because then I know this what is he. Now you was doing but and I've been living in Paris a lot and I see that people just going. You are here. You will be teachers. You will speak with the students. You will teach this kind of literature, and you will show them that this is not correct. This is not what we want for our future. Here where we live, you can say no, you can act differently. Yeah, in Sweden, in very early on in school, young children, they learn how to take care of the environment. You don't throw things on the street. You take care of your local environment so that it because you have it must be fine.
And secondly, that and that restaurant that you find you can complain about it. That's it, because they are there now.
Yeah, that's good. I think schools would be I mean, that is,
Bad name, bad profile.
I think it's, I mean, it's fresh. They are, it's, but it's great. I mean, it's no, but it's not because interacting. And I think we have lots of from that. But of course, I think that there is hospitality here, friendliness, and really, yeah.
One more thing that might architecture.
Very good. Yeah, and so ancient. These things are not done now. This is well, very you walk around it. You don't even come close to us. So I see something. I'm very
That's all trash. I think, you know, and opportunities for lead writing, lead writing, and that's like.
It's really basic, right?
I have I ended up somehow. It is quite level with this work.
Even if we don't know, we don't know, it's not, I don't know. I must admit, because, not scholarship, we have courses and the schools, very prestigious private schools in Sweden. But as far as I know, these schools are for Swedish language. So you have to write in Swedish because the teachers, they are Swedish also.
So I.
Yes, of course, I understand that you write in I'm sure that there are at Stockholm University writing courses, creative writing courses and environment. But not facilitated. Well, there is I'm working in speaking French. That's about it. Maybe we learn some no. Yes, every step of the community so about the tuition that we want. But and then precisely I understand in Danish, German, and also have advice on which northern summit. So yeah, yes, very good question. Yeah. Well, I hope that you are into theme 2 now. So I will sort of bring you to the relationships, the networks, and maybe you are already there, but I see that the scenarios, they are coming into place. And so many interesting discussions about the futures here. So please go on 15 minutes more maximum, and then we will wrap up and we will move into the postcard session. Okay. Thank you. Is it anything? We have different kinds of like we also have in my university, we have different kinds of setups. We have the amphitheater with a huge screen in front, and also maybe 35. So the big amphitheater is 300 persons can be there. So it's very and it's great for the big gatherings. So, for example, next Friday, when I receive 150 secondary school students